Welcome to the CU 2.0 podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the CU 2.0 podcast with big new ideas about credit unions and conversations about innovative technology with credit union and fintech leaders. This podcast is brought to you by Quillo, the real-time loan syndication network for credit unions, and by your host, longtime credit union and financial technology journalist Robert McGarvey. And now, the CU 2.0 podcast with Robert McGarvey.
Fact, credit unions have lots of data about their members. Everything from home addresses to their liquidity. Fact, credit unions, most of them are woefully inept at mining this data to better serve its members and also to boost member retention and up cash flow into the credit union. Enter DeepTarget, a Huntsville, Alabama-based fintech that serves 285 clients, 85% of which are credit unions. They range in size from around $25 million in assets to several $billion in assets. All come to DeepTarget for its toolkit of proven techniques that get results. In 2025, for instance, DeepTarget tools helped its customers open 328,000 new accounts, generated $1.98 billion in new loans, and brought in $2.7 billion in new deposits. That sound you hear is the CU cash register ringing. Monthly DeepTarget fees are affordable too, typically 4 figures a month. And usually a credit union's own staff involvement in DeepTarget campaigns is minimal. Accommodations are available for credit unions that want a more hands-on role, but if your staff is busy enough with other tech projects, DeepTarget doesn't need a lot of input. In an era of generative AI, all this may seem unglamorous. Maybe it is, but it delivers meaningful bottom-line results to credit unions. And cash is glamorous. DeepTarget generates cash for its credit unions. On the show is Preetha Pulusani, company's founder and CEO. And if you wonder how all this tech happens in Huntsville, I have one name for you, Werner von Braun. If the name doesn't ring a bell, look it up. Listen up. Now, you have, according to this grid you sent me this morning, 285 active client contracts.
Correct.
And roughly 85% of those are credit unions.
Correct.
And they vary in size from 25 million or so in assets to several billion in assets.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
What's the average tenure of a client of yours?
Oh, I don't know
How
to give you
much churn there is of clients. So they come on, I got this one little project, I want to do more auto loans. Okay, fine. Hey, this was great, worked fine.
Oh, no, it doesn't work that way. So I would say the churn is less than 5%. And churn happens primarily when the institution is going through some kind of platform change, some tech platform change. Primarily, we don't really work directly with the core. We work directly with the digital banking platform. And so that's, so say they're shifting from, just pick one, right? Jack Henry, Banno to some Fiserv platform that we don't yet support. They either suspend or they cancel. Our contracts today, our standard contract term is 5 years, Robert.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you're almost as bad as Fiserv. I mean, I think
Fiserv. We're making them revenue and we're helping them grow.
Well, that's different.
So churn is not something that just happens after a campaign is done. Sometimes a prospect comes to us and say, hey, our policy is no longer than 3 years, or our policy is to be coterminous with our digital banking platform. And we are flexible. We're a small company. We are flexible.
How many employees do you have?
I have 10 W-2 employees, and then I have about as many 1099 contractors, and most of the contractors are fractional.
you do a lot of work for that level of staffing.
Yeah, I've been around for a while, remember? And I think the development wise, the tech platform is so solid because the first few years, that was our entire focus. I'm a techie, so maybe that's why. So my entire focus was, build a very strong, unbreakable platform so that we don't have to worry about it later. And now it's all about, how do it's a lot about spreading awareness that we do exist, that you need us. We can help you grow. We can help you acquire new customers and retain them because, we'll help you move these customers from having one product to becoming the primary financial institution for them. So let us help you engage them in the branch that they visit most often.
Well, as you know, one of the neat things about credit unions, as opposed to banks for the most part, is a credit union customer will tell other credit unions, we're working with da da da, and they're great, or we're working with da da da, and they suck. It's they will talk that way.
They talk. That helps us a lot, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I've
They're
heard
so
from.
happy to be references if they're happy, right?
Yeah,
So
I remember asking one guy why he'd signed up for a certain service, and he said, "You know who a friend of ours who works at a very big credit union, was calling me every week asking me why I hadn't signed up."
yeah,
I said,
yeah.
he said, yeah,
Yeah.
she's an evangelist for it.
Yeah. So I love that about credit unions because they're less about competing and a lot about sharing, good and bad. And we have a lot of credit union clients. So when we are talking to a new credit union who we have done an outreach to, and they maybe say they're a $600 million asset size. So we really try to give them a reference that's around the same size so they can understand what they do and how they've been using DeepTarget and what the benefits have been.
Now, when a credit union initiates a conversation with you now, this year, what are they, what itch do they want you to scratch for them?
One of the primary things that they want to do is they say they're just not meeting their members in person anymore in the branches, and they want to figure out a way to engage them. And so that becomes and be able to tell them about new products, be able to tell them about what's going on at the credit union, the whole community aspect. So that's a big deal for them.
That's, I hate to say this, and you may disagree with me, but I think it's certainly not a majority of credit unions that have the awareness that they don't have insight into their members because members aren't going into branches. I mean, I see these things on LinkedIn. The president of a credit union will say, "Oh, I stopped in the branch and three customers came up and hugged me." It's like, hey, dude, I don't care about the three customers, the three members. Come
Yeah.
on. There's a bigger picture here. Most, people don't go into branches. So my point is, a lot of credit unions, I think, are still in a state of delusion about how much they know about their members.
Robert, I will not disagree with you. I tend to agree. That's why I say we spend a lot of time spreading awareness about what we do and how we can help them. Listen, there are about 5,000 credit unions in the United States, and we have, you saw the number of contracts we have, right? If more credit unions were aware of what is happening and how they needed to kind of transform what they do, I think we would have a lot more customer contracts. So when I believe that the ones that we do have are the progressive ones.
It's the ones that have the courage to look in the mirror and say, "Huh, things today aren't the way they were 5 years ago with our members." And that takes a certain amount of courage to say that. Now, as we've discussed previously, there is this generational shift in the C-suite. Baby boomers, people my age, are retiring. and younger people are coming in. And those younger people are A, more tech savvy, and B, I think they're more willing to look at the question of how do we reach out to members if they don't come into the branch?
I believe you're right. I mean, they come in very digitally aware. And, most of them are, all of them are either customers of Amazon or Netflix. They know what personalization means, right? They know what engagement in in virtually a virtual engagement means with consumers. So I agree with you. I think they come in ready to change things and to shake up things. It's not always easy, but I believe that's what happens. And this culture shift has to happen at the top.
Yes. With Amazon, I've bought a lot of Kindle books, thousands literally over the years. Amazon recommends books to me. Most of them aren't crazy.
Are they?
Now, most of them are actually pretty good. There's something I might have been interested in reading. And but they have all that data from thousands of book purchases. So what data do you have that lets you make a recommendation to me, the member, as opposed to all members?
So I may not have your personal identifying information, but what I do have is I have things like your generation, your age, how long you have been a member, what accounts you have opened with this credit union, whether you own a house, whether you have a debit card, have you signed up for e-statements? Things that do matter, right? So there's enough data there. We get this through the financial institution, uploaded daily, and it's coming from the core. So that's good enough data to do a lot of good personalization and targeting with relevant messages and cross-selling of products that individual has a high propensity for. And then we also have predictive model campaigns. We have developed these models over time based on results that have been achieved by our own software. And so those are proprietary models, but what they help us also say is who in this credit union is the highest propensity for platinum credit card, for example, right? And then you start running that campaign just for those members, so that the members are not deluged with messages that they don't really care about or products that they don't really care about.
Which is a problem. Most credit unions, at least credit unions that I have relationships with, tend to send me offers that really, I would never have any interest in this.
Because most of them are doing the old way of spray and pray.
Yes.
Let's just let's just send out all of this direct mail, for example, and within this 3-mile radius of this branch, everybody gets the same thing. And yeah, because everybody gets it, maybe some people will listen. Or member might go to a credit union website and they find a whole range of products. That's different from the credit union actually presenting an offer that makes sense, that is also personalized, and that has information that matters to that individual.
Now, what's your typical fee?
So our fees are asset based. So based on the size of the credit union, we have a one-time setup fee, and the annual and that's usually say about 15 to 20% of the annual fee. The annual fee, it's a monthly subscription, but it's an annual fee, right? This is just how all the SaaS models have changed how the payment happens. And for, let's say 300 million credit union. I don't have exact numbers, but I would say they're paying us about $2,000 a month. And with that, they're getting our expertise. We are actually their co-pilots. We help them run those campaigns. We provide managed services.
And you can be up and running in as little as 24 hours, but typically more like a couple weeks.
Correct.
And Exactly what kinds of campaigns are you running for credit unions now?
So it's all the loan and deposit products for retail use as well as commercial use. If that institution happens to have a commercial customer base as well. But let's talk about the consumer products. It's all of the loan products, it's credit cards, it's checking accounts, savings accounts. So because I may be an indirect member at your credit union with an auto loan, and it's important for the credit union to see if they can, get them to open more accounts there, maybe a savings account, maybe an IRA account, whatever it is, it's just bit by bit getting them to be more sticky with your credit union. And to do that, you have to first engage them and tell them why it makes sense for them to, say, open a checking account at your institution. You have them as a member already just because they have an auto loan, right? Or a mortgage. Why not do more with them? So, yeah, so it's all of those. It's all of the deposit. I think there are about 17 or 18 different products that we can run campaigns on.
Now, are you involved in many credit unions dream about getting more business banking customers, members? Do you have tools to aid in that?
Yes. So we started out primarily in engaging and cross-selling to existing account holders. So if you had commercial accounts already, we would present products to your commercial accounts. But what you're talking about is actually acquiring new accounts, both retail and commercial.
Which
And
may
so,
be with existing credit union members who happen to own a car dealership or
correct,
a
correct,
stationery shop. No, well, probably
correct.
not a stationery
Yeah.
shop anymore. But it's, but yes, they have a small business.
So we do have targeted campaigns where we would promote the credit unions. The credit union would promote their commercial offerings to an audience that they think might be interested. So that certainly is there. But we just introduced a targeted acquisition program. So instead of the spray and pray mentality where you go and just within a particular radius, you go find everybody, because our decision engine already knows who a profitable member is, we are able to take that profile and then identify within a geographic radius the similar type of profitable prospects for membership. And we are able to then target them to get new core deposits, whether they're retail or commercial.
What percentage, ballpark, of credit union members are profitable?
I wish I had that number. What a great question, Robert, but that stumps me. I don't know what the average number is, but I know I can get it. And I know I can get it for each credit union, but I don't know generally what that is. What
I just remember going back like 12 or 15 years ago, there was a big campaign for to get credit union new members, ditch your bank, join a credit union. It was actually pretty successful. And then I went back to credit union CEOs and said, so, like a year later, how's that working out? And it's about bad. That's really bad. Because the people would open a share draft account, a checking account, put like $50 in it, and then go dormant.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I hope the leaders of CU of credit unions are looking at that, at least on a monthly basis to see what percentage are profitable. But you've given me some homework to go do. I'm going to go just kind of look at a few of our customers to see what percentage of them are profitable and
Because
how we
remember,
can tell.
most credit unions still offer free checking. Whereas Chase wants, if you don't have a minimum balance of a few thousand or $5,000 or whatever it is, Chase wants, I think, 10 or $12 a month. And they still don't want you as a customer, actually, because that's all you have. Whereas a credit union says, hey, you got $50, $5 actually. You can, sure. Come on down. You can be a member. And
Yeah.
then that thing is costing them money every month.
Yeah. And but conversely, I just saw my my CRO just forwarded me a message from Chase that he had received that said that Chase would pay him $900 to open a checking and savings account. Of course, they have to have some minimum balance and they have to have some level of transaction. But but think
Oh, no.
how,
As I tell people, when I moved to Phoenix 12 years ago, I had an auto loan with Chase. That was my only relationship with Chase. And that was a no interest auto loan for a Subaru car. Chase was basically just managing, getting a fee from Subaru for managing the thing. But I moved to Phoenix, and lo and behold, I got a letter from Chase saying, "Hey, there's a branch like really close to where you live, and you open an account. You can open it online, then go up to the branch, show them this letter, and we'll put $300 there, or maybe it was $500 in your account. And done. I don't even think there was a minimum." And so I said, "Okay, I'll do that." It was that easy. You just went up to the
yeah,
branch, showed them the letter, boom, money shows
yeah,
up.
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So that's how much. So think about this, right? They're spending all of this money to acquire customers. Now, what are they doing to retain them? And I do believe that's the most important piece of the work that we do. We not only are we cross-selling to them, we're engaging them every day, we're giving them valuable information where the members actually look for them. We do something as simple as wishing them on their birthday and maybe giving them a special offer, right? And you would be surprised what a long way that goes. We have one credit union customer where the CEO and the staff have actually videotaped themselves. It's not highly professional or anything, but it's authentic, singing happy birthday. And so on the member's birthday, they send out this banner that wishes them for happy birthday, and they click on it, and this video plays, right? It's within digital banking. It matters to members to know that their financial institution really does know them. Such a simple thing.
Your point is that the credit union has this data. It's there. They just don't know how to mine that data and use it, right?
Yeah, it's always been a black box. And then you put, marketing people traditionally have really been about brand awareness, less about data. Of course, that's changing, right? Today, you cannot be in marketing and not be tech savvy. But then they don't own the data, right? They have to go somewhere to get it, to access it. That's why I said leadership plays such an important role in making things like this happen. We used to talk a lot to marketing people about our product. That has changed in recent years. We talk to the chief digital officer, the member experience person. We talk to the CIO, the CTO, who's really interested in how do we leverage this data that we have for the good of the credit union for growth. So that's been actually a very good change because all of a sudden, the CTO or the CIO doesn't need permission to access the data. They have the data. They own the data in that organization, and so it's easy for them to deploy what we do.
Yeah, I think the problem credit unions have isn't member loss exactly, member attrition. It's members who become inactive and just
Dormant.
stay on the books.
Yeah.
And since you're not paying a fee, why go through the exercise of closing the account?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and
if
it
you,
just stays there forever.
yes. And what you can do is re-energize or reactivate some of these accounts.
Yes,
And
yes,
how do you do
absolutely.
that exactly?
We have just announced the release of a recommendations subsystem within our suite. But the way we do that, when we've done that traditionally, is we get a automated upload of data. So when we set up the system, we identify the fields that we need. The credit union provides that as an automated update. The most often it's a daily update. So we get a refresh every day. generally they have 25 to 30 campaigns running. So think about all the products that they have, plus general messages that they want to get out to the user base. These could be rules-based products, they could be predictive model products, they could be leads that somebody has sent them that is a list that they provide. It could be any mix and match of different types of targeting modes. And every day, our decision engine takes all of the members, takes these campaigns, uses the data to define for each member what offers are valid for that member. So we define an offer stack for each member. And as they log into digital banking, whether it's mobile or online, and whenever they log in, the next best offer shows up on their screen in a very visually immersive, impressive way, right? We could have multimedia, it has personalization. It says, Preetha, you have, 250,000 of equity. Would you be interested in a HELOC, for example? So that's how we do it. And it works because on the back end, we track not just, how many impressions did this ad get? How many clicks did this get? Clicks, by the way, are leads. We actually track what accounts were opened, influenced by these campaigns, and how much revenue was generated, and what were the actual balances that were generated. So we can actually tell them, here are your new loan balances generated as a result of your campaign over the last 3 months, 6 months, whatever.
I think the great thing about what you're selling is that in most credit unions, the credit union will make money using these tools or letting you use the tools on their behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I take a deep dive, if I'm a credit union CEO and I take a deep dive into AI today, I'm not going to make any money this year from it. I know that. Will I make money next year? Well, I'm probably praying that I do, but I don't know that either.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you'll start generating, I'll make money paying you money, if you will. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That it makes a lot of, that's what we tell them. I mean, don't just take our word for it. Look at the data, the performance analytics that we provide, which are beyond just vanity metrics, to actually coming down to who clicked, who bought, okay, and when they bought, what was the actual revenue generated and what was the balance. If they opened a CD, for example, here's the balance of that CD. So it's deep, hence our name. So we go a lot deeper than most engines do. AI is a tool. It's not the end-all solution. It's how are you deploying that AI? So we have several ways we're deploying that AI, but AI is a tool. It's like a building block. It's not the end, solution. So I think we're using AI effectively on behalf of the credit unions.
And how do you deploy AI?
We have a couple of areas where we're using it effectively. One is, of course, the predictive model campaign. So 5 years ago, I'm thinking 5, 6 years ago is when we first put in these predictive model campaigns. Before that, the credit union would come in and say, let's create some rules, of course, with our help. Let's create some rules based on the data that we have on who we target, right? So, for example, if somebody was close to retirement, we would have some special deals for that demographic. We would set up a rule, and that would be the campaign. But today, for that same demographic, we say, open for a retirement account, what is the highest propensity audience for this? And our system automatically generates that audience. And then you just create the campaign and run it. So that's one way we're using AI. The other way is it's not enough to just have data that tells you what you need to do. You have to help them actually deliver the message. So we deliver the message, and how the message looks and feels That's where we use generative AI. We have a feature called Ad Buzz where we can actually generate the images and the messages that could go on these banner ads.
Now, you sent me some data this morning. There's one tab that says new loans generated 1.98 billion. Over what time frame?
That was the entire year 2025 from all of our customer contracts.
So just 1 year, though.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. New deposits generated 2.7 billion.
correct.
And what do we have? New accounts opened 328,000 and change. Leads generated almost 1,931,000. That's some terrific results. You know, it's not glamorous. It's not Anthropic or OpenAI, but it's tangible dollars and cents stuff that doesn't cost too much. And as you've told me before, the credit union does not necessarily need to provide a lot of staff support for this.
Correct. We found that to be a real barrier, actually, to marketing folks. There are, first of all, very few marketing folks in credit unions, and they're already overwhelmed doing, all of the traditional marketing that they've done with branding. And to throw another app that they need to learn is not always ideal. So we said, let's just do it for them because we made the platform very easy to use. But despite that, we said, let's just wait for them. Let's just do the work for them. And that's actually worked out really, really well because it's gone from, oh, I'm too busy to even look at this to, oh, please just become an extension of our marketing team and run this for us.
Absolutely. I've talked with a fair number of young fintech CEOs, and what they hear often at credit unions say, that sounds great. That sounds great. We just don't have the bandwidth to do this right now. Why don't you get back to us next year? Now, for a young fintech, why don't you just tell them to commit suicide? Because they don't have any cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next year
Yeah.
may never come for them.
Yes,
But
exactly.
I'm sympathetic with that CEO or whoever in the credit union who says, man, I got 20 people working on this damn OpenAI thing, and I don't know what I'm getting from it. I don't have any
Yes.
extra bodies to throw at this.
Yes.
It's
So,
whereas
yeah.
you're saying
And
you don't need a body. We can do it all for
no.
you if you want. Or if you
Yeah.
want to participate, I imagine there's a way they can participate too.
Yeah, so we have some, right? We want to create the ads. So of course, I mean, we'll just take the ads you create. Let us help you set it all up and get them out. And sometimes they just set it and forget it, but we kind of ping them every quarter and say, it's time to refresh your ads. Let's do a refresh. So that helps them as well, right? So, and then you see these results. Sometimes things really surprise me, Robert. You look at these numbers, and these are real numbers, right? I'm not making up how many deposits, what the dollar value of the deposits. I'm just taking that data and presenting it back to them that this is what the yield was. And every now and then we get somebody who is not familiar with DeepTarget. Oh, we're evaluating all of our contracts. We don't see an ROI. I got one the other day. It was somebody it was from a bank, I will say that. And the person said, we're not seeing an ROI. And that person was responsible for retail at the bank. And I went to check her. We have something called a management report. So I went to check her management report. They had not run any loan campaigns during the year, but they had run deposit campaigns. They had generated 11 million throughout the year in new deposits. And they were probably paying me 3,000 a month. Are you saying it was not worth that? So of course, this is a conversation we have to have. Just it's a lack of awareness of what this system is doing. In some cases, maybe that person was new at the FI and had this thing to go cut costs. Who knows?
Now,
I mean, that was a good conversation to have with them.
oh, Yeah. No, sometimes they don't know that there is a benefit here. It's just not quite what you're asking about. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now, are there any surprising campaigns that you've been running recently? I mean, is something new trending at credit unions that I'm not aware of? I mean, home
So,
loans, mortgages are kind of still dead. HELOCs are pretty much dead, though there's a little more life in a HELOC.
yeah.
Um,
So one of the things that we're finding is many of our credit unions are trying to attract the youth. And sometimes they may have to do that through the parents. We have this new generation that's going to be inheriting a lot of wealth. So I think credit unions are preparing for that, but don't quite know how to do it. But I have seen some good campaigns that are all about, youth savings accounts, incentives to open youth savings accounts, and usually these go through the parents to the younger to attract those younger members. But I have seen some of those that have been interesting, and you can see why. It's because there's so much that's going to be happening in the next few years as people retire and as people die and new blood comes into the system.
Also, people tell me that many places, including in some instances, school cafeterias, only take debit cards. So suddenly your 14-year-old needs a debit card. It's
Right.
and obviously you want to put some brakes on that. You don't want you don't want to find the kids drained your account overnight playing some
Yeah, but you can
online
put
game.
limits on
Yeah.
that. I
So
think what's important, the number of transactions is very important for the credit union and for their profit.
right. So, but that's, I know a lot of credit unions are seriously looking at how can we serve this youth market responsibly, responsibly for the institution, also for the kid, and definitely for the parents. So it's
Yeah.
so
So
what are you hoping to do like in the next 3 years?
So my hope is, to grow. I think the awareness we've reached a point where we are getting a lot more. We used to do a lot of outreach, but now we're getting a lot more people who come to us because they've heard about what we've done. So I think word is spreading in the industry. I think it's very important work that we're doing to enable these credit unions to grow and retain their members. So for me, it's all about increasing the value that we provide to the credit unions, and because of that, growing our own user base. We have so many references, Robert. So that's really the good. I mean, even if you go to our website, you can see some of the testimonials that we have. So I do believe it's going to be a good couple of years coming up.
Well, you have roughly 10% of credit unions if we exclude the teeny ones from the count.
Mm.
That's a lot of credit unions. And a question I've asked you before, I'll ask you today. Why haven't you been bought? Because I know there are big companies out there buying smaller fintechs. They sort of eat them for breakfast, and at lunch they wonder why. But
Yeah. I think so. So I've grown this company organically. So I've bootstrapped and I've grown this company organically. I haven't been out there pitching the company for sale. I have had a lot of people interested in it. And I've talked to them. I've had conversations and said, yeah, let's just wait a couple of years. I I just don't believe my work is done. And it's maybe a very selfish point of view, but I think it's getting very close. So you never know. You hear something in the next, I would say about the 3 year time frame.
no, I was since you're a profitable business, which is sort of unusual in the fintech world.
I
Wow, you
wasn't
really?
always, right? I've had to scrape my way to profitability. So yeah, I know what it means to manage cash and cash flow and all of that good stuff. So So I feel like I'm in a good place now, and there's still a few things we want to do. Have a great team, and so I can see that I can see the end kind of coming for me.
How many women CEOs of fintechs are you aware of?
So I attend a great industry organization. I attend their summits, and I'm part of that organization, have been for about 7 or 8 years, the Association for Financial Technology. And I have seen actually over from the beginning to now, more women attending. They may not all be CEOs, but they are C-suite. We even have a women in technology, kind of get together at that thing. So, but I would still say it's sub 20%, 20 maybe high.
Yeah, there's definitely been a growth of women in the C-suite. No question about that. The
I know
CEO
maybe about
suite,
3 or 4 I can think of
yeah,
offhand.
CEO suite, there are fewer women. But obviously the growth of other jobs in the C-suite says that there will be growth of
There will
women
be. There
CEOs.
will be. Yes. Yes. And it's great to see. It's great to see.
I've always thought so. I mean, if you're trying to put together a team of winners, but you exclude half your players, you're not going to do as well as you would do otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's no, we're not going to count those people. Well, that's kind
Yeah.
of stupid, but it's. Do you have any trouble recruiting people to work in Huntsville?
Not at all. I mean, it's a tech hub. You'd be surprised how much of a tech hub it is.
No, it's
So
Rocket USA. I know that.
yeah, it's
It was a
rocket, and
rocket before there was a NASA. There was a rocket stuff in Huntsville. Werner
yes,
von Braun
exactly.
worked there, if my memory's right,
Yes,
after World War
we
II.
launched the Saturn V, and if you come to Huntsville today, we have the largest space and rocket museum. It's fabulous, and you have a model of the Saturn V standing up, but you have the actual Saturn V lying on its side. It is an impressive rocket, I can tell you. It's huge.
Huh.
And yes, so no, I have not had trouble. I have recruited from the University of Alabama in Huntsville, my developers, and also from surrounding universities, University of North Alabama. I've recruited, they've come in as interns and then ended up being our customer services or developers. So no, I have not had trouble recruiting. And I used to work for a company that was founded in Huntsville and became very successful, called Intergraph, not in the fintech space. And my executive management team are essentially people who worked for me there. So I'm well placed there.
Well, I would imagine the cost of living in Huntsville is significantly less than the cost of living in Silicon Valley.
Significantly.
It may be the highest in Alabama. I don't know, but
Now it is, just because the growth is crazy, because I mean, we've been growing just at a tremendous pace. Government, military, Space Command moving there, the FBI located there. There's what they call their kind of second headquarters. We have a
oh
huge
wow,
military base. Yeah.
huh, cool.
So there's just a lot going on. And so it's become the largest city in Alabama now.
Yeah, that blows my mind. I would have put all kinds of money down on Birmingham, but I would lose. Before we go, think hard about how you can help support this podcast so we can do more interviews with more thoughtful leaders in the credit union world. What we're trying to figure out here in these podcasts is what's next for credit unions. What can they do to really, really, really make a difference in the financial scene? Can't all be mega banks, can it? It's my hope it won't all be mega banks. It'll always be a place for credit unions. That's what we're discussing here. So figure out how you can help. Get in touch with me. This is rjmcgarvey@gmail.com. Robert McGarvey, again, that's rjmcgarvey@gmail.com. Get in touch. We'll figure out a way that you can help. We need your support. We want your support. We thank you for your support. The CU 2.0 podcast.